Hello. So today I wanted to talk to you about reimagining stories, right? So art is not a rigid thing. It changes over time, over like in people's ideas and everything. And then sometimes we feel that we should extend an idea, and that's how we recreate those stories of like using art, right? So again, I wanted to start with a very personal experience. So this is a picture from like I took these photos. They are from the Baltimore Museum of Art. So this was a very like very beautiful moment for me because I went in the Impressionists gallery, and then the first thing I saw was them, like these two sculptures looking at each other. So I knew about the like little dancer, like Degas little dancer, like he painted and drew out like made sculptures like hundreds of them, and then he like expressed the the struggles, the daily lives of those dancers. And then like this was one of his like latest work, and then like with this sculpture he wanted to show that this girl was so much like hope, like so many hopes, so many dreams, her confidence, everything was in this one sculpture. And then her life wasn't very happy. Like she was kicked out from the dance school 1 year later, I guess, and then her family wasn't very in a good situation. So maybe she had to go to some work she didn't want to do. But like her looking at these two sculpture, it almost felt to me like I almost felt like her dreams came true with her. So she's a grown woman. You can see she's a black woman with like this very beautiful raffia skirt. So this sculpture is named Meredith. So this is by Simone Leigh, and she made it like this sculpture is about someone named Amy Meredith Cox, and she is a choreographer and also a academician. And then she and Simon, like they actually like helped black girls to know more about like another black like earlier black dance choreographers. And then like they wanted to help those girls like who were not in a very good situation in like socioeconomic classes and everything, but they wanted to help them through ballet, through dance, through music, through art, right? So in my view, like I was almost feeling that she grew up to become this woman, right? And like she is just telling her that yes, you did it. And she is saying thank you for being there. Like, so I cannot explain that how beautiful that moment was to me. It almost felt to me that like she grew up. So yeah. And then now we know that like how people reimagine stories, right? Like the world never saw her to be grown as a dancer, but we reimagined her to be a dancer, right? Like whatever her like origin is, like she wasn't like a European girl, she is a like African American girl, but we reimagined their stories and we connected them together, right? So yeah, so that's how why I wanted to start with these very beautiful and very like nice, very happy to me. And then so the next one, what I wanted to tell is that like reimagining stories is not a new thing in art, right? So Annunciation is the act, like is the story in Bible where like the Gabriel comes and tells Mary that she is going to conceive Jesus, right? So different artists thought about this story differently in different times. So this is by Leonardo da Vinci, and he was very much into the geometry, in the mathematics, in the very precise understanding, using maths in like in art and everything. So he was very interested in the horizon, that if the vantage point is here, then we are looking up, we are looking like this, and you can see that Gabriel is telling like he has the wings and everything, and then how confident Mary is, right? So Vinci's interest was not just in the story. Vinci's interest was to like mix that story with mathematics, with like different stuff. In the other hand, like Caravaggio, who was very known for his Baroque style, right? Like very extravagant style. So here he put like the whole story, like whole like thing in black, and then he makes it a very like very intense situation. It is a intense situation, and then Gabriel is like flying from high above, and Mary is just like taking that news in, and she is just so mild, and she is probably like very afraid and everything. So we see it in a very intense eyes of Caravaggio, right? On the other hand, Tanner, who is an African American like painter, and I saw this painting in a Philly Art Museum, and then like this is a very beautiful painting, and the like the picture really didn't do justice to the painting here. So like what his understanding of this story is that the like this is a light, and he was thinking that it's a like Eastern stories, like it's not from West, it's a like it's in East. So like he was more interested in the like like the around, you see like how the rooms, the clothes, and how she's looking, and it's just a light, like he didn't make Gabriel to be an angel, like he made it to be a light because angels are a light. So he was making the story in a very easternized idea than a westernized idea, right? So his understanding was this. On the very different end, Rossetti, like one of the like pre-Raphaelites who wanted to take the Renaissance, like that, like the whole very rigid art form out and take the simplicity back in to art. His idea was that if you tell a young like virgin woman that she's going to have a child, sh like what is her feeling? Like in Rosetti's eyes, it's like a lot of things. She's not like happy, like she's happy, she's sad, she's like anxious, she's like she's tensed, and like it's a very peculiar feeling for her, right? And like he actually made her face look very like very distinct, that like she's if you look at here and if you look at here, like she's very confident and she is like always already like a very like angelized like person, but like here Mary is just like confused, and like because something is very peculiar happening to her as a from a human perspective. So like even if Gabriel is carrying a flower and everything, she's like what? So yeah, I think like so every artist's idea of Annunciation was different. So when we look, like the story is the same, but it's just the view, just the idea was different, right? So again, I wanted to tell you that reimagining story from different perspective is not a new thing. It's just a perspective thing. And you can write the same story in so many different ways, right? So the next one is that when people take the technique and when people take the story, like those are very different things. So suppose this was the opening of the fifth seal by El Greco, and he was one like he is at the end of the Renaissance, and now like people are trying again to make like you see like the very abstract like body and everything. So this is called mannerism, and El Greco is showing that in this picture that the fifth seal of the heaven or the hell or something is opening, and then like they are like all the like like the martyrs are telling their stories and asking for revenge or like asking for punishment and everything of their like killers. So you can see that this is called the profane love, like because some people say that they had like more on the top and that was gone and that was the divine part of it, but the profanity was that like they are humans, and he is like painting the humans. If you remember the Renaissance woman and like men, they were very different like body language, but he is trying to make them more humanized, right? So Cezanne take this technique, and then like this is his bathers, and he went to Africa and he like saw people's bodies like differently, and then he like you can see like this is not the same story, but they took the technique in, right? So they are reimagining, they are recreating the techniques in a very different story, right? So before that, I was telling that it was the same story, but they are finding different elements in the same story. This is totally different stories. They are just taking the same technique, same human bodies, and then but you can see how like similar these are, right? So they're just bathers, they're like bathing, and like but you can see that he took that idea from there, and he also took ideas from the African art. And then this is the like most famous I cannot even like pronounce this name, La Demoiselle, whatever. So like this is a very famous painting by Picasso, and you can see they are like now what he started, right? So the bodies are like this. You can see the shapes are more circular here, but now Picasso has like the cubism is there. So Picasso take those bodies and he makes these curves very geometric and very cubic, right? So again, like he took the idea, put his own story in, and then like now he is more focused in the cubic part of it. Picasso never went to Africa. So he imagined female bodies and everything like this, right? So now when African diasporic artists and everybody come in the picture, their understanding is that African women are not just that, right? So how the Western like idea is of African women is they are not happy with that and they should not be happy with that. So like you can see now she like actually put like the artist actually put the cubic woman in the background, like the masks and everything, and she put a real woman in the forefront, right? So this I saw this painting in the exhibition called Now is Always the Time. So it was of the black artist, and I really loved this painting because like it shows her reality, like her breasts, her like body is just a regular woman, but she is standing there with so much grace and confidence that these women lack, right? So now the story is not about the technique. Now the story is about representation, right? So you can see that like how the same structure is like shaping and reshaping over time, right? Again, like it was like what is your motive to create an art is what matters. It really is like what you want to do, right? So that's what I wanted to tell is that it's not, again, it's not a new thing, and it's not just like you can reimagine stories, you can reimagine techniques, and then like you can mix and match, and then like if you feel that you are not represented like clearly, then you can create it again, right? So about representation, I loved this picture so much that like, so again, this was again from the exhibition Now is Always the Time. This is Ari Matisse's dance, and he was also very like same as Picasso, like he was very interested about African female body. So like but he was almost like a thing, like I actually went to Baltimore Museum of Art to see Matisse's work, and I thought that if I see more then I will get like more like enthusiasm or something, but I really couldn't love yet, like I probably will never be able to. I've seen this the dance in Met in New York. It's a big painting, and he has lots of like different versions of this painting. So about the dance, he is only interested about like the circular dance, the movement, the women's bodies, and they're like the whole thing about it. But in Matisse's work, in nowhere I could found a woman to be a woman, right? So in Matisse's paintings, a woman and a flower vase had the same importance, but that's a human being and that's a thing, so you cannot like, so again, I'm not like criticizing Matisse's work, I'm just telling that there is a lot of room to think that story again. So now again, when the African American artists are drawing, now she is reimagining the story, right? So what is one of like any of these women thinking? So what happens after the dance? she may just sleep on her couch, right? So you can see the dance is in the background and a woman is just sleeping like in the forefront. Like she's so tired maybe from the dance. Maybe she's like waiting. She's like how she's sleeping like without being like as perfect as a flower vase or even in some of like Matisse's work, like one of the work was like there was no like yeah, I forgot the name of that, but like the model had no back cushion or anything in her back, so the whole time she was like putting her hand like down her head and she was just like posing like that for like hours, and that strain in the back, like you can see that in the painting, like but here the artist is like we are done with that, and if she wants to rest she should just rest. She doesn't need to like entertain anymore. She can rest, like, right? So yeah, so this takes out the like that objectification out from this story and makes her like a real human being who gets tired after a long dance, right? So yeah, I loved this painting so much more than the actual dance. So again, so the next one is again one of another my favorite, and I found it online. So this is the American Gothic is like known to be like the most famous American like picture like painting, and it tells that like how the early immigrants in this country like they grew the country, right? Like they made the country. So like this is a very stern like man, and like he is like holding a fork wheel, and she's a very like stern woman, and like you can see the church like home, and then like so that very like sternness was the gist of America, right? Like that like we have to build it something. And then you see here a Hispanic couple, and then he is like holding like the same kind of thing, and then like she is holding the like just the household like the washing and cleaning stuff, maybe like she works in a like as a housemaid, and like maybe he works in a construction site or he works in something like that too. And then like the thing that caught my eye again is that they don't even have a house, they have a car, right? So this is kind of car that like they probably like take their supplies in and everything, and then like that's why it's like not a fancy car, but like it gets like what it's for. So I think like now we saw that like you can recreate stories about like technique, about religion, about understanding, like about being a woman or a man, a person, and now like about being like so the story is that the story of an immigrant is the same if he came from Europe or they came from like maybe Mexico or somewhere, the story doesn't change, right? So it's the view, it's the perspective that grows over time. So I think like that's like what I wanted to get at. And I actually wanted to end with actually one of my stories is that like we all know Cinderella story, right? Like Cinderella was like with her like stepsisters, and then she lost her um like she went to a magic ball, and then like she lost her slipper, and then she came back, and then like the prince found her. What if Cinderella didn't tell the prince that like I am the princess, right? Like, so I wanted to know that why was Cinderella in so much hurry to get back to her life that she didn't like? And why, what made her like not even to tell that like what she wants or something? So then I wrote this, that my feet matched the glass slipper perfectly. It was my slipper, molded for me. It was my slipper, I left it there. It was my slipper, I didn't look back. What if an unknown snatches away the life I believe is real, place I think is dear? I cut my feet, ankles and toes. I trimmed my nails and skin. I drowned in a pool of my own blood. Yet I apologized for a little bandage that I wrapped around my wound myself. Cinderella never cut her feet, but maybe she did. Maybe she wanted at some point. Why? My feet matched the glass slipper perfectly, yet I hid my sparks to match the three sisters. Maybe that's why Cinderella wants to like be so much like Cinderella doesn't want to get away. Like she doesn't, she's afraid that her life that she knows is real will go away, will vanish, and then she will not have anything. And that's why like she made herself something she is not, right? She hid her sparks to match the other three sisters. So I think that is a Cinderella story of many girls, of many human beings, that they feel that this is not their box, but they still try to put themselves in that box. They still try to fit in. They never really fit in, but they try so hard, and like they hurt themselves so much just to fit in. And I really hope that like we will not try to fit in anymore, and if necessary we will recreate the art, then fit our stories in the existing art. I think that that's what my whole point of making this video was. Thank you. Bye.